I started watching Big Brother at at an age that maybe I shouldn't have been watching it, but I am glad for that because I'm able to compare and contrast what is happening then and what is happening now. Big Brother then versus Big Brother now. These days, social media has provided a way for others to influence our thoughts and perceptions about the housemates. So it's not just you liking a housemate or not liking a housemate. Now you have to deal with the opinions of others about the housemate that you like or dislike, which in turn influences your opinion about the housemates. As at that time, there wasn't social media, right? There wasn't social media, and um, the only way you get to know what people feel about housemates is through voting. So if a particular housemate remains in the house, people are able to tell that yes, that housemate is loved for whatever reason. You might not be able to say exactly what people see in the housemates. You can just say maybe it's because they are this way or they are that way. So there wasn't such, should I say, a social forum where people share how they felt. Why is this point important? It's because there was less recorded fighting and betrayal amongst rival fans. There was also less recorded affirmation from fans towards their favorite housemates. Let's just say that people could maintain an independence of thought concerning the housemates that they liked or disliked, but now there's a social forum to address everything, and sometimes the results are not so good. We are people that love stories. We like movies, we like, films, and we like certain kinds of stories. And so when we see it come to light in reality, and I put that reality in quote because there's only so much reality in a reality show, but I digress. So seeing how the story comes to light is something that we like to see. It's something that we can connect with, and I would say endear this house makes to us. And while that is all well and good, we also see some stories that we do not like come to light, right? Let's say in a case whereby some housemates are condescending, to others, or they say things that make it look like they're better than others. We don't like to see such story come to light. Um, Anything that looks like oppression, anything that looks like, someone is a housemate is behaving as though they are better than others. This particular season, there's just been a lot of fights. There's been a lot of fights. At first, it seemed entertaining, I think, to people that find fights entertaining. It seemed entertaining, but then um, before we knew it, there was just a lot of fights, and it brought up questions of, is this what people call entertainment? And more interestingly, I observed that people were justifying fights, people were justifying threats, people were justifying intimidation, people were justifying things that on a normal day they would not justify if it happened to them. And that is something that gives me cause concern about the Big Brother show, how that all of these things happen, we get to see how people react, and we wonder if they really really think this way, or it's just because they like the housemates that are involved in the fight, and that's why they're justifying it, right? Just seeing how that social conversation plays out, bothers me, because I'm like, is it that you don't want to look bad because you've put yourself out there as liking this particular person, and if you say that what they have done in that particular situation is wrong, you get attacked by other people, or you really really think that what they've done is okay? So that's something I've seen play out, with Big Brother shows, Big Brother Nigeria shows in recent years, that bothers me, and I'm like, okay, is this really what we want to see, in our society? The other thing that I've observed about Big Brother show, about Big Brother Nigeria, let's just call it BBN, right? That I've observed about BBN, and housemates interaction with themselves and with fans and even production, is how that people expect the production to be like a moral arbiter. of some sort. I find that actually very interesting because, logically speaking, when you check the channel, um, and you see what the producers have in mind as it concerns the show, there's nothing there that says that, oh, our aim is to produce a show that would be an example of what a moralistic society looks like. This particular scenario or this particular community, as the Big Brother show creates, right, is one that justice will prevail, and rights will be, every wrong would be addressed, you know adequately and with justice. They did not say anything like that, and of course there are house rules, but over the years, I've seen people complain about the fact that you see housemates, threatening violence and, being intimidating and, saying stuff that bothers us, and the production does nothing about it. So I just find it interesting that people expect that the production would be a moral arbiter. Let's just say it's as it is. Production's ultimate aim is to make as much money as possible from the show. That is what they care about. And I remember checking their channel, and they just said that, oh, the reason why they do this show over and over again is because they want to produce content that, um, local content that Nigerians love. And at the end of the day, if that content is fighting, if that content is, let's say, for example, love shaping, if that content is something that is not morally right, they are going to produce it. And I think that the only person or the only body that can stop them is the Nigerian censorship board. So when I see people complaining about production not ensuring that justice prevailed between certain housemates, or that it is not an orderly society, I'm like, is it really the production's fault? Considering the fact that when something crazy happens, something, when a situation, for example, a fight breaks out, or a certain situation plays out and people like it, and or people have a lot to say about it, and in turn it increases the rating of the show, do you expect them to step into that arena through the Big Brother, right? Who sees everything? Because really, Big Brother is also production, right? Who sees everything? If do you think that they're going to do anything about it? I mean, because these days, bad publicity is also publicity, right?
You apologize, but don't forgive them. Why don't piss me off. Don't piss me off, rude boy. Don't piss me off. Don't fucking piss me off. What's your
You guys can see whatever it is that you like, that about production not doing what they're supposed to do in certain situations, but then when they see that some of the people that watch the show, some of the fans of the show, are only speaking up because it is detrimental to the person that they like, to the housemate that they like, and in situations whereby other housemates are involved, they don't really have much to say, do you think the production is going to care about ensuring that the morals of the show are put in place? Why am I looking different? Well, it's because while I was editing this video, some crazy stuff happened again in the Big Brother house. This morning, two of the housemates actually got into a disagreement, some altercation about a task and all of that. And it's the final week, and I'm wondering, like, why is the issue like so serious? One housemate was accusing the other of wasting time, not showing up for the tax, and the other one did not quite agree with that. And so she picked up the buckets that had some of the ingredients for their task, and he disagreed. And while he was trying to get back the bucket from her, he, by his actions, caused that to fall to the ground. It was a very bad look. When I saw it, I was like, this is crazy. Like, what else is supposed to happen on this show? It's the final week, for Christ's sake. I thought all the drama would have stopped by now. let's even assume that people were putting up a show, fighting and all of that. Like, why is this still happening in the final week? The final week is the week where you're meant to rest. It's the week where you're meant to just calm down and enjoy the season. Anyways, I was talking about how production is not a moral arbiter. I guess they wanted to beat that allegation. People have accused them of letting a lot of things slide, and with this particular housemate that pushed this other housemate to the floor with his action, people said that a lot of things have been overlooked as it concerns him, and so production decided to disqualify him. So he's been disqualified. I feel I need to add that to this video, just so that I am truthful with the things that had happened. Let's just hope that there's no more drama anymore. As it concerns this Big Brother show, I beg, let's continue. The last season of Big Brother, which was the what's it called again? No Lose Guard season. Yeah, interestingly, I wanted to watch it. In fact, before the Lose Guard season, I don't think I'd watched Big Brother in years, maybe like 8 years or something. But for the No Lose Guard season, for some reason, I was just interested. I just wanted to know what was going on. And I remember telling my spouse that I wanted to just follow up with the show. I wanted to just know like what's going on, because it's been a while I watched it, and for somebody that has become increasingly interested in the influence of media on our minds, I just felt like Big Brother show being the one of the biggest show would be a good way to see how that plays out. And I was watching conversations online while watching the show. Now, looking at the Lotus Guard show and looking at this particular the No Lose Guard season, and looking at this particular season, I noticed that that season affected the things that happened in this season. And in that season, they were more guarded. Like, it was a more guarded season. People were, even when they got angry, they held themselves back, because you're not supposed to lose guard. You're not supposed to get riled up, because that could affect your game. And the way the social experiment played out, you needed to be careful as to how your housemates saw you. So the theme of the season guarded how the housemates behaved in that season, because nobody wanted to miss out on the prize money, and they were doing their best to ensure that they stayed in the good books of maybe their housemates. Being in the good books of the housemates was more important to them than even being in the good books of the viewers. And so people complained about how that the show was boring because of that. And now this season, which is a 10/10 season, I think there's an inscription in the house that says that less is not an option. And so everything is just over the top. People are fighting over food, they're fighting over interesting things that on a normal day you're like, is this really like something to fight about? Right? And so, speaking about the moral role that people want the production to play in this particular season, I'm like, when they played the moral role in the last season, you guys complained. Now they are allowing the housemates to do whatever it is that they want, and there is still a lot of complaints. And from my own standpoint, I mean, judging by some of the content or some of the videos I've made on this channel, there are certain videos that people like because of the topic, and there are certain ones that they don't like. And so, me, that I'm even a very, 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 very micro video creator who doesn't have a lot of subscribers, I can see how what the public wants can guide the things that I talk about, even if I feel like other topics are equally important. And so I don't blame the production when they do not step into the arena to stop people from doing stuff that people do not like, because at the end of the day, the fans only cry out when the indiscretion or the injustice affects their favorite, not because they're trying to be fair or anything like that. The other thing that, yeah, it's one of the things that really bother me, speaking about strategy, I've seen how strategy conflicts with morality on the show, on the side of the housemates and on the side of the viewing public. I've seen how that people talk about how that if you're going to win the Big Brother show, you really need to be very strategic in how you do the things that you do. I've seen how that people praise certain kinds of strategy, even if those strategy are wicked in their intention. There've been some housemates that have been manipulative in how they go about their strategy, hitting the heads of several people together, calling them particular names that suggested that they feel like they are the ones, they are some sort of puppet master. We've seen housemates that use the strategy of like being a, how will I put it now, a slow person or a mumu or somebody that is being treated badly. That's their own strategy to create some sort of empathy on the side of the viewers towards their cause. Oh my goodness, I'm going to vote for this person because I found myself in that position before. And then I've seen how like some strategy that are equally um, immoral is not giving like a green light by the public. Strategies like, let's say a person is pretending to be someone that they are not, even after they are told the public like that is what they are going to do. I've seen people talk about how that they want to garner pity by the way they behave, and so they're not going to vote for the person. That person is just a pretender and all of that, and it's still strategy because, to be honest, from my own point of view, like the Big Brother show is not a show where you can really say that, oh, this is right or wrong, because that's not how it is set up, right? And but I see how that when people don't like a particular housemate strategy, they bring up morality as a reason to discredit the person's strategy. And then when they like the housemate, they say, oh yes, it might be immoral, but it is strategic and it is therefore okay. There's obviously a lot to say about Big Brother, but let's just stop here and talk about why this conversation matters. Simple. You're a product of influence. That's why you must guard your heart from the downside of reality shows, of which Big Brother is one. Honestly, in as much as yes, it's an entertainment show, it's supposed to entertain and all of that, it also influences us in how we see others, in what we think is right, especially if um certain housemates, gather like lots of views, or they are able to like get a lot of people on their side one way or the other. It's like you're co-signing something that if it plays out in real life is actually not good. And so I've seen that play out and I'm like, okay, when is a housemate just being a jerk, and when is a housemate just being strategic? It's very hard to answer that question, and at the end of the day it just boils down to which housemate is popular amongst the viewers. um I wrote some notes here about that. I'm trying to just check if I covered everything. um mm. So, I mean, we just see how that hypocrisy plays out. I think the point I'm trying to make is that with the show, there's just a lot of hypocrisy. Like, there's a lot of hypocrisy. People co-signing something that is bad because they like someone, and condemning something that is bad because they don't like the person. But when it comes to the person that they like, they'll call it a strategy. When it comes to someone that they do not like, they'll say, "Ooh, that is morally wrong." And I'm like, okay. Um, yeah. Why is all of this important? Honestly, like, why am I even having this conversation? I'm having it because I'm very much aware as to how media influences us, the way we see ourselves, the way we see others. There's this movie called Top Gun. It's an American movie. It starred Tom Cruise and some other amazing actors that I can't remember their names. Please give me some time to just, you know, be be factual about what I want to say. Yeah, so Top Gun is a naval fighter weapons school where the best of the best, they're trained to refine their elite flying skills. That's what Rotten Tomatoes say about Top Gun, and it followed the story of fighter pilot Maverick, and his friend Iceman, who's called, not his friend actually, at odds. He was at odds with this person, Iceman, played by Val Kilmer. I think Val Kilmer has passed now, and that movie was about the naval fighter weapons go, the fighter pilots of the naval of the navy. And it is said, I read somewhere, don't quote me, but I did read somewhere that the movie influenced a lot of young people to consider joining the navy and to be a fighter pilot. That's how strong the influence of media is, the influence of what we see on our screens. That is how strong it is. And bringing it back to the Big Brother show, um, we cannot lie about the fact that watching it influences our behavior, our attitudes, how we see ourselves, how we see others. And it's just important that we, as viewers, guard our hearts. Like, we are not, we do not lie to ourselves that everything that we enjoy is good for us. Um, I recognize that the show you know, can do a lot of good things, but it can also promote a lot of bad things. And my aim is not to tell you whether to watch it or not. My aim was just to highlight the things I've noticed about it that just gives me cause for concern, and then you can make your decision. But still, it is important to point out that sometimes the bad things actually are more, should I say, more, for some reason we just tend to gravitate towards them the more than the good things. And we all recognize that the good things in life, the good values, the things that actually help us to have a better society, that helps us to treat others better. And the way the show is set up, it's a competition. People have to backstab, people have to betray one another, people have to talk bad about each other, and somebody has to emerge as the winner. If they're not going to be, you know, the best. And I think that's something that viewers of the show or fans need to accept, that their favorite is not it's not a perfect human being. Their favorite is not perfect. It's not perfect. You don't have to defend everything that they do that is wrong. Really, there's just a lot of issues with Big Brother, with similar reality shows. A lot of fabricated situation, a lot of lies, a lot of, it's perceived reality. It's not really reality, because let's not lie. I would like to think that sometimes even production influences some things that happen. The obvious influence, of course, and there are even maybe some things that happen off camera that we will never get to know. And all in a bid to raise up the ratings and make some money, while people go away and picking up bad habits or translating what they've seen into reality, and something that they watch influences them in a bad way and leads to like dangerous consequences, which may directly or indirectly be as a result of watching the reality show. So I think it's something that we need to just put at the back of our minds, because it's really important. I read something here that I just want to read out to you guys. In all of this, the consumer of the show is the most at risk. You must decide if watching these reality shows is worth sacrificing your peace, health, sanity, and most importantly, life's purpose. Or you can choose to, remain a hypocrite and, continue watching it and allowing it to affect you. Now, speaking to myself, because I need to watch the show to know what's going on. One of the things I recognized about the show that I know is bad for me is the knee-jerk laughter that I get, even when I know that it's at the expense of someone, right? I love a good show. I mean, I love a good joke, but because I'm also a believer, I have a catch in my spirit that says that somebody somewhere has been deeply affected by this. Somebody's will has been overridden. Somebody has been put in a position that is detrimental to them, and so it helps me to, should I say, guard my heart in how I react to the shows. And it's even one of the reasons why I'm here speaking about this in the first place, because I recognize how that these things can even affect the most cautious of us, and before we know it, we are behaving a certain way that is actually not good for us, but because we had consumed so much of something that is bad, it plays out in how we live our lives in real time. So I guess my point is, in all of this, is to say, as you engage with reality shows, Big Brother Nigeria, and all of this, just ensure that your heart is properly guarded, and that at the end of the day you're standing for the truth, no matter how difficult it is, especially if you call yourself a child of God. So if any of this makes sense to you, please let me know in the comment section, and I would like to hear your thoughts about Big Brother. Do you think it's worth the hype? Do you think what do you think about the show? Let me know. I want to leave you with a scripture that you can always remember when you find yourself watching something that is on awesome. Um, actually have two scripture in mind, but let's see if I can read both. Proverbs 4. Yep, Proverbs 4, verse 23. It says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life." I think that's very well self-explanatory. And then I want to also read Philippians chapter Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. All the best as you engage with these reality shows. Once again, thank you for sticking with me for this long. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you are a subscriber, please like this video, please share it, and most importantly, I want to know what you're thinking, so please comment, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye for now.